Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to this, our sixth episode of SSH Writers on Writing, where we interview scholars, researchers, and writers from across the disciplines about their writing lives. And we ask them things like, do they have a specific process to their work? How is their writing different from that of other disciplines? What do they expect from their students? And do they prefer classical music over grunge? My name is Enns, and I'm the SSH Writing Center Coordinator at Nazarbayev University. And with me today is the Chair of the Biology Department at Nazarbayev University, Professor Christian Schönbach. Dr. Schönbach, welcome to the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
We're very happy to have you. So can you just, first of all, begin by telling our listeners a little bit more about the type of biology that you research?
I started out with immunogenetics, and then early on, I moved actually into the computational part, and there's now a subfield of bioinformatics called immunoinformatics, which deals, for example, with prediction of peptide binding, which can be used, for example, to predict whether an epitope derived from some bacterial or viral antigen is immunogenic or not.
Okay. Is there any? Do you focus on any specific disease, like one of the autoimmune diseases?
Now I'm more interested in viral diseases.
Okay.
For example, I did work on HIV and HTLV virus. These are retroviruses.
Have you been doing work with looking into the coronavirus?
Well, I'm a co-PI on a grant, actually, COVID-19 grant, and we are supposed to set up actually antibody screening tests and for monitoring three types of immunoglobulins, IgG, IgA, IgM. So the rapid tests usually limited to IgG and IgM.
Okay. So way back when you were a student, was there anything in particular that made you decide to pursue biology?
Actually, nothing in particular. It was just a very practical reason, because it's a very broad field and I didn't know exactly what to do. And this allows you to go into various directions and to keep the options open for, I would say, until you finish bachelor, and then probably it's time to think about what you really want to do.
Okay. All right. So then you finished your bachelor's and then you moved on to graduate work. When you were, you were researching, and then I'm assuming then you were also writing up your research. When you started writing for biology, did that kind of writing feel intuitive to you? Did it come easily?
When you start out, usually in your undergraduate studies with lab reports and then project report. And let's say the project reports are closely related in the structure, the IMRAD structure. And once you are told actually that you don't start with the title and abstract, this comes last, but you write for some material methods, then it's logic and actually not that difficult. What is more problem is writing discussion or conclusions without overstating. Well, as a student, obviously, when you start, you don't have that much experience, so it comes kind of naturally. The longer you work in that area and the more you read, the easier it gets. Okay,
so NU has a lot of biology majors, and I'm guessing a number of them would like to go and do graduate work. Do you find yourself giving specific advice to students about how they, pursue that kind of career and that kind of writing and researching?
The first advice if you are talking about research paper, you want to publish in a journal, the first decision-making point is to discuss with the advisor whether actually the data are published, whether it's enough or not, and what is the novelty. of that. And let's say once you have an agreement, or you feel you have something new, and the controls are correct, and it has been replicated, so it means that your results are reproducible, well, then it's time to write up. And that's there's nothing to do with writing, it's just decision making, whether it's worth to write a paper or not. And then when it comes to writing up the story, well, you start out with your results and your figures, describe them, then you need to explain how you did that. And then the advice is, well, read the instruction for authors carefully. Some students don't do that because it's too long, sometimes 20 pages. And in the supplement, maybe another 20 pages how to make exactly the figures.
Oh dear.
So, but if you follow the instructions, then at least from a formal point of view, so you may get past the editorial desk, and the paper is sent out for review.
Yeah.
But, if you don't follow the rules, then you're stuck already before it goes to review, and just some administrator says, well, this is missing, or that has been done wrong, and that's it, and then you have to correct it and submit again. And the second, the other point is, some students are, I think, not aware of issues, for example, regarding figures from images. So now many journals, they require that you provide, for example, also unedited images, because of problem people fake data. And often there's limited space in terms of display items. So this includes figures and tables. So it means one needs to create, for example, supplementary data. And for them, the same rules apply. As so they require proper, like, tables, proper names and format and so on, so to get accepted. And basically what is submitted should enable other persons to reproduce your results. And then become actually the problem, how do I describe that in the material methods? So obviously you don't need, one doesn't need to write like similar in a lab notebook. I added this buffer, and then I incubated whatever, and use this in this tube. But it should be written in a way that a skilled person can reproduce that, and also that you followed. If you followed a certain protocol from a manufacturer and modified that, then it needs to be stated what has been modified.
Okay.
So I guess most difficult, I feel, is writing the abstract because of the word limitations. And there are some publications out there. People compared citation rate with word usage in abstracts and length of abstracts. And if you use a lot of jargon,
okay,
then actually, it's not just biology. So they use natural science field. But anyway, there was a trend that citation rate was lower, which I think is interesting. And also there wasn't, as far as I remember, they didn't really explain why is it so. They also found that if abstracts were too short, then also citation rate was lower compared to abstracts which were a bit longer. But I think it depends also. Some journals they allow 300, others they have some extended abstract. So I would discount actually the lengths, but I think the wording is important, because if it's really too specialized, then you capture only a minority audience rather than more general.
So it sounds to me like writing in biology and writing in all of the sciences is not just one skill, right? So you have to have a great idea. You have to have an idea that's interesting enough to write about. You have to design a methodology, and then sort of pull that off and get some results. And then you also have to follow the instructions of the journal that you are hoping to send your article to. And your abstract, has to be written in a way that captures attention, the right people's attention. It sounds like there's so much involved in writing well.
Yes.
I'm exhausted just thinking of all of it. So now that is writing. That's writing for publication. And I know that you're also a teacher and that you get students to write as well. Is there something about student writing, like your students send you papers? Is there anything in particular about student writing in biology that you find annoying, that you would rather not see? Is there a particular mistake that you find comes up again and again?
I'm not sure if this is specific for biology. Maybe it's in general that introductions are that actually they fall in two groups. Either introduction is too long and they want to show we know so much about the area and deviate actually from the objective, and the other extreme is that it's too short. And I guess when you start, it's difficult to find the right balance, and someone needs to tell you. That's why we have courses such as critical research reasoning in biology or biology research design, where students can practice this.
Yeah. And so speaking of that, like our courses, so you're the chair of the biology department. Does the Nazarbayev University biology department occupy a specific niche in the world of biology?
I think if you ask about the teaching program itself, I would say no. But for research, obviously, because this depends on what faculty obviously is hired and what expertise they bring with them. And there, yes, we have like renowned experts in microscopy, and it's, I guess, one reason why in the research building at C4 there's the microscopy facility is since this year Carl Zeiss Center of Excellence, and that wouldn't have happened not because of equipment, but also because of two faculty members who are expert in that area.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good. I'm happy that we're making roads like that. Okay, so now we've come to the part of the podcast where I'm going to ask you some of the questions based on the Proust questionnaire, so a little bit more personal. So ready?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a favorite word?
Result.
Result. So simple and so profound. Result. Okay. Let's say that you decided not to go into biology and you were not a biology professor. What else would have made you, what other kind of profession would have interested you?
Running my own company, but it would be still related to biology, I guess, but I wouldn't be a professor.
So like just not at the university?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. And conversely, what would be the job that you would hate? Like if you died and went to hell and they made you choose a career that you hated the most, what would that be?
Well, I guess I would like to be a pharmacist.
Oh.
No, when when I studied anyway, I took courses in pharmaceutical biology, and I knew where this is heading, and also felt career prospects are a bit limited. Let's say you would end up in some hospital pharmacy. It's pretty boring. That's why I thought I wouldn't like to be a pharmacist, end up in some regulatory agency or in some pharmacy shop.
Yeah, that does sound boring. Yeah. Agreed. Okay. And now how about stuff that you like to do with your spare time? So I'm guessing that you listen to music. Do you have a favorite band that you like to listen to?
Actually, no favorite band. All kind of music.
You like a broad range of music?
Yeah.
Okay. No specific. Okay. All right. And then finally, do you have a favorite author?
He died already in 2000. So he's actually the father of X chromosome inactivation, Susumu Ono, and he wrote in the mid 60s, papers which opened up like really new area, and he was thinking so far ahead, and he had the guts actually to also to submit papers which are from first let's say sight a bit weird. So together with his wife, they converted DNA sequence of some kinase into music.
Wow.
And he published that, and it was all about actually patterns in sequences. And then music, you can also say is music is just a pattern and repetition of various patterns. So
have you been able to listen to the music that was produced based on his patterns?
Well, you can look on YouTube, you can listen to that.
Right. Yeah, so that wraps up the questions that we'd like to ask you. And I'm conscious of the fact that you need to do other stuff with your day. So I just like to close by saying thank you so much for being part of the podcast and for giving us interesting, thoughtful answers and giving us a glimpse into the life of a researcher in biology. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.